Alright, if you watched yesterday's video, you know how cold it is, and my fingers are starting to freeze off, so gonna be talking quickly and get right into it. Today is about rooms, so I do give a lot of information on my expenses in my rooms on my Patreon page for my paid Patreon members, so don't want to give the exact same details that I give, but I have some details to tell you about my rooms this year. First, I want to say 280 nights that I paid for, sometimes staying at a friend's house, sometimes staying at my parents' house. 280 nights I paid for, way more in the Airbnb this year than the casino. In 2022, it was like clockwork. It was like 5 nights on the strip, Sunday through Thursday, and then 2 nights in an Airbnb, Friday, Saturday, and just like repeat. Things are changing in Vegas. So this year, didn't spend as much time in Vegas, but also 180 days in an Airbnb and 88 days in a casino. Make some room over there. So yeah, almost 2/3 of the days in an Airbnb and slightly less than a third in the casino. If you'll notice, those two numbers don't add up to 280. Occasionally there's a motel stay. Hope the wind isn't too bad. I'm doing what I can to keep you out of the wind. So there's the breakdown. It's becoming way more Airbnbs. Also, because I wasn't in Vegas, but even in Vegas, it's becoming more Airbnbs. And a big factor of that is the is dealing. Dealt for, well, it was a 50-day series, and I didn't want to deal with strip traffic. I didn't want to deal with traffic on 215 or anything like that. So that was a big draw for me of Orleans. That's why I applied there, got the job there, and a lot of Airbnbs in that neighborhood. I will say, in terms of the 88 casino nights, something last year that I asked people, this was before I was making the Patreon page, something last year, when I have a casino night and I pay with comps, no US dollars change hands, so I count that as 0. But people last year asked me throughout 2024, can you keep track of, even when you pay in comps, how much did you pay in comps, and convert it as if you always paid in cash. So for the 88 casino nights, the nights I paid in cash, I wrote down the cash. The nights I paid in comps, I converted the comps to cash. So here is the total number for those 88 nights. It is $2,567 and a penny, which comes out to about $29.17 per night, and that includes like no free nights. When I pay with comps, I acted like I just paid with money, and that's the average. Still a very solid average. The average actually would be a little less if I never paid with comps, because the reason I pay with comps sometimes is to get a weekend. The weekends are expensive, but sometimes I have accrued so many comps that I have one long stay, including a weekend, like 5 weeknights, the weekend, 5 more weeknights, and I don't need to move for 12 days, but it means I paid for the weekend. So a couple of those comp nights were pretty expensive, but there you go. Also, before my fingers freeze off, we'll tell you the high and the low. July was the low month in terms of payment for room rates. Rounding to the nearest 100, it was $700. And one of the big helps there was 7 casino nights totaling about $90. And then moving over here, the big month was October, when I was traveling all over. For one, a lot of an occasional expensive night. Lake Charles was $90 for that one night about, and a lot of the Airbnbs were like 1 or 2 nights. Airbnb gives you a lower rate per night on longer stays, so I had a lot of very short stays. Also, I got to Maryland, didn't like the looks of the Airbnb, and went with my backup plan, which was a motel. So if you remember, I filmed in that motel a few times at my desk before I went to play poker. So I had I don't remember if it was 7, 10, 12. I had some nights at a motel, which was the best option once I didn't like that Airbnb, but it was about twice the cost per night of what I usually pay at an Airbnb. So that's why, rounding to the nearest 1,000, October was $2,000 in room rates for me. So yeah, a lot higher than normal, but it was a ton of fun, and don't usually count on a Airbnb being poor and needing to make a change at the last second. So there you go, some information on room rates, although all the full details are in the Patreon newsletter issues from now on. And before I freeze, I will see everyone later. Thanks for watching the video. If you're enjoying this content and want even more poker, Las Vegas, and travel content, feel free to sign up to receive my monthly newsletter via my Patreon page. It's $5 a month. There are 3 ways to sign up. You could either type in the link you've been seeing at the bottom of the screen, or you could go to my YouTube homepage and in the center of the screen, click on the link to my Patreon page, or you could go into any recent video of mine, go into the description box below the video, and click on the link to my Patreon page from there. Once you're on the Patreon page, click on Start Free Trial and follow all the prompts. The first 7 days are free. It's $5 a month after that, and you will receive 1 monthly newsletter about everything poker, Las Vegas, and travel related. If you want to see the first one I created, which is free for everybody, feel free to click the link on the top of the screen or the link to the video that's on the screen in the bottom left-hand corner right now.